My name's Emma. I work for the South East team, and I'm a senior practitioner here, and I'm also the education liaison for the South East team.
So how does Winston's Wish work in the community or with schools?
We work a lot of time out in the community and with schools, mostly with schools, because obviously there's a lot of children in schools, so it's a prime place to be. Within schools we can go in and we actually offer a free 1 hour training session within schools, and the purpose of that is to explain to teaching staff and school staff how to deal with the issue of bereavement in the school setting. Often people are a bit worried about how to do that. Maybe they're anxious about upsetting children who have been bereaved who come back to school, or another common worry is that they might become upset themselves. They're just not quite sure about how to approach things, what best to do. So we can give a lot of support in that respect. We can also go into schools if there's been a death within the school community. That's quite helpful, I think. And we try to respond to that as quickly as we can, supporting staff and guiding them really how to sort of help their school community deal with a bereavement within that community that affects all of the children. We provide a service now as part of in the South East as part of an education liaison, where we can consult with schools. So say for example the school have a child who's been bereaved and has maybe some other complicating things going on in their lives, or just needs that bit of support, but it's not an appropriate time for them to come and access Winston's Wish as a service. We can go into school and speak with the teaching staff or maybe pastoral care teams and offer advice on how best to support that child.
Why is it important that teachers or professionals in the school environment either know about our service or know how best to support a bereaved child or a pupil that's been bereaved?
I think it's really important because people can feel very lost and under pressure to do the right thing for children, and that can affect their responses to the children. So it's really important that they can access the support for the children when they need it, and when the teaching staff need it. And it can really change a child's experience of going back into school. Many children say to us, it's like there's an elephant in the room. We've gone back into school and nobody knows what to say to us. People particularly older children, our teenagers say, people look at us and think, oh, what's happened, but don't say something. I was in a school where a child's mum had died over the summer holidays and nobody said anything to her. Not out of meanness, but out of kindness. They sort of looked at her and thought, oh, she sort of looks okay, we'll best not upset her. But actually, she was already upset and she could have done with a bit of support. They can also pass our information on to families then, within the schools they know, and families can access support from us as well. So I think that's really important to have ideas. Usually when the schools have some ideas and some support and a bit of guidance of which direction to go with the children, they really are very creative themselves and are much more confident at dealing with bereavement issues that they face in the school setting.
What are some of those common issues that we see when we go into schools?
Okay, so many of the children, for example, from a children's point of view, say they feel quite different to other children within the school. They feel isolated, they feel that everyone's looking at them. Many of the adults and the teaching staff in school say, I just don't know what to say. What do I do? How do I bring them back into the class if a child has been off school for a little while? How do I bring them back in the class? That's quite common. And so we're able to offer support in terms of encouraging people to communicate with families where possible, and children to give children sort of the best package back into school. School's often a really familiar routine for children and they kind of relish being there, so it's important that they get the best experience they can.
And how can a school access support from Winston's Wish?
Through our helpline. School can access support from Winston's Wish via Phoning Our helpline. If they've got any issues in school, that's the best way. Use our free phone helpline number, and that will be the quickest way of accessing the appropriate support within school, whether that be some free training, some one-to-one support for the adults within school who may be working with children, or help with a death in the school community.